The Valoran Armada came out of hyperspace like a dark cloud covering the sun. 12,000 warships, each one bigger than a mountain, appeared at the edge of the Sol system. Their black metal bodies blocked the light of distant stars. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy. They had come to conquer Earth. Admiral Torek stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. He was tall, even for a Valoran. His gray skin was covered with battle scars from dozens of conquered planets. His yellow eyes looked at the small blue planet in the distance with hunger and contempt. "Such a tiny world," he said to his officers. "And they think they can stand against us." His crew laughed. They had good reason to laugh. The Valoran Empire had crushed 47 civilizations. They had burned cities older than human history. They had enslaved species that once ruled entire galaxies. What was one more primitive world to them? The sensor officer, a young Valoran named Keth, studied his screens carefully. "Admiral, I am detecting approximately 300 enemy vessels. They appear to be gathering near their fourth planet." Torek smiled, showing his sharp teeth. 300 ships against 12,000. These humans are either very brave or very stupid. "Perhaps both," said his second-in-command, General Voss. She was a cruel female who enjoyed watching weaker species suffer. "I have studied their transmissions. They fight among themselves constantly. They cannot even agree on simple matters. Conquering them will be easy." Torek nodded. He had read the intelligence reports too. Humans were young, barely 200 years into space travel. They had no powerful allies. Their technology was primitive compared to Valoran weapons. This would not be a battle. It would be a harvest dot. Then the transmission came. A human female appeared on the main view screen. She wore a dark blue uniform with golden symbols on her shoulders. Her black hair was pulled back tight. Her face showed no fear, no worry, no emotion at all. She looked at Tarek the way a person might look at an insect. "This is Fleet Admiral Park Yuna of the United Earth Defense Force," she said. Her voice was calm and steady. "You have entered sovereign human space. You are advised to withdraw immediately. This is your only warning." The bridge went silent for a moment. Then Torek began to laugh. His officers joined him, their harsh voices filling the room. "Little creature," Torek said, still laughing, "do you know who we are? We are the Valoran Empire. We have burned civilizations older than your entire species. We have crushed armies that made your little fleet look like children's toys. And you dare to warn us?" Admiral Park did not react. Her expression remained the same. "We know exactly who you are," she said. "We know what you have done. We know what you plan to do. That is why I am giving you this warning. Leave now, and your fleet will survive. Stay, and you will learn why that is a mistake." Torek leaned forward in his command chair. "Is that a threat, human?" "It is a fact." General Voss stepped closer to the screen. "You have 300 ships. We have 12,000. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Your armor cannot stop our plasma cannons. What possible reason do we have to fear you?" Admiral Park was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke again, her voice unchanged. "Because you do not know us. You have read our transmissions. You have watched our wars. You think you understand humans, but you have only seen what we allowed you to see. You have only learned what we wanted you to learn." She paused. "Every species in this galaxy has made the same mistake. They look at us and see a young civilization. They see our conflicts, our divisions, our struggles. They think these things make us weak. They are wrong. These things made us strong. Every war we fought against each other taught us how to fight. Every weapon we built to destroy ourselves taught us how to destroy others. Every enemy we faced prepared us for the enemies we knew would come from the stars. Torek felt something strange, a cold feeling in his chest. He had heard threats from many species before they died, but something in this human's voice was different. She did not sound like someone hoping to survive. She sounded like someone who already knew how this would end. He pushed the feeling away. It was foolish. Humans were nothing. Enough talk, he said. Your warning is rejected. Prepare your people for slavery, Admiral. Those who resist will die. Those who submit will serve. This is the way of the galaxy. Admiral Park nodded slowly. Very well. You were warned. The transmission ended. On Earth, deep beneath the mountains of Gangwon Province, Lieutenant Kim Do-hun watched the enemy fleet on a holographic display. 12,000 red dots surrounded by a sea of darkness. 300 blue dots stood between them and Earth. But Do-hun was not worried. He knew something the Valoran did not. Colonel Baek Jisu walked into the command center. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had served in the Defense Force for 40 years. She had trained for this moment her entire life. Status report, she said. The Valoran fleet is advancing, Do-hun answered. They rejected our warning. Admiral Park is moving our public fleet into defensive position. Baek nodded. She walked to a control panel covered with switches and displays. Most of them had never been activated. They had been waiting for over a century. Contact all hidden stations, she ordered. Authorization code. Silent Dawn. Do-hun's hands moved across his console. Across the solar system, encrypted signals traveled to places that did not officially exist. Asteroid bases. Lunar bunkers. Stations hidden in the rings of Saturn and the storms of Jupiter. Colonel Baek placed her hand on a single red switch. She took a deep breath. They wanted to conquer humanity, she said quietly. Now they will meet humanity. She flipped the switch, and across the solar system, humanity's true fleet began to wake up. 150 years ago, humanity made first contact with alien life. It was not a happy meeting. A Valoran scout ship discovered Earth and sent a simple message back to its empire. New species found. Primitive. Easy conquest. Recommend invasion within 1 century. The humans intercepted that message. They decoded it. They understood it. And they made a decision that would change everything. The nations of Earth stopped fighting each other. Not because they suddenly loved each other, but because they understood a simple truth. The galaxy was full of predators, and Earth was prey. If humanity wanted to survive, it had to become something else. Something dangerous. Project Silent Dawn was born in secret. Every major country contributed money, scientists, and resources. They built shipyards inside asteroids where no one could see them. They carved bases into the dark sides of moons. They hid weapons factories in the clouds of gas giants. For 150 years, they built and waited. The public fleet of 300 ships was a lie, a mask, a piece of meat thrown to hungry wolves to make them think the meal would be easy. The truth was much different. Captain Lee Sun-ho felt a ship come alive around him. The Gwanggaeto was a heavy cruiser, 2 kilometers long and covered in thick armor plates. It had been sleeping in an asteroid for 12 years, waiting for this moment. Now its engines roared with power. Its weapon systems activated one by one. Its crew of 800 moved to their stations with practiced speed. Sun-ho was a tall man with a calm face and steady hands. He had trained for war his entire adult life, but he had never fought a real battle. None of them had. The hidden fleet had only run simulations and exercises. Today, theory would become reality. All systems online, Captain, reported his first officer, Commander Shai Yunji. She was young but brilliant, one of the best tactical minds in the fleet. Weapons are charged. Shields are ready. We are prepared to engage. Sun-ho nodded. He looked at the holographic display showing his ship's position. The Guangato was one of 900 vessels hidden in the asteroid belt alone. Around him, hundreds of other ships were waking up from their long sleep. Their dark hulls reflected no light. Their engines burned cold. They were ghosts becoming solid. "Connect me to Fleet Command," Sunho ordered. Admiral Park Yuna's face appeared on his screen. She was aboard the Chungmagong, the fleet's command ship, hidden in a crater on one of Jupiter's moons. "Captain Lee," she said, "your squadron is assigned to the eastern attack vector. You will wait until the enemy reaches the kill zone, then strike their flank. No mercy, no hesitation. Understood?" "Understood, Admiral." Park's expression softened slightly. "I know this is not how any of us imagined our first battle. We trained to defend, not to slaughter. But these creatures came here to enslave our children and burn our cities. They laughed at our warning. They called us primitive." She paused. "Today, we teach them the truth. Today, we show the galaxy what humanity built in the darkness. Make me proud, Captain." The transmission ended. Across the solar system, similar conversations happened on 4,000 ships. Vice Admiral Shin Junho commanded the battleship group from the Sejong the Great, a massive vessel armed with weapons that could crack a moon. Lieutenant Commander Oh Minji led a destroyer squadron from the Yulji, her small ships fast and deadly. Commander Yoon Hana prepared her fleet of missile carriers, each one loaded with enough firepower to destroy a small country. They were farmers and teachers, engineers and artists, people who had never wanted war. But they had prepared for it. They had sacrificed comfort and peace to build weapons in the dark. They had trained in secret, knowing that one day someone would come to take everything they loved. That day had arrived. In the asteroid belt. Captain Lee watched the Valoran fleet advance on his display. 12,000 ships moving toward Earth like a slow wave of death. They flew in wide formations, their weapons powered down, their shields at minimum. They were not expecting a fight. They were expecting a surrender. "They are entering the kill zone," Yunji reported. "All friendly ships are in position." Sunho took a deep breath. His hands did not shake. His voice did not waver. He had been born for this moment. "All ships, power up weapons. Prepare to decloak on Admiral Park's command." Around him, the hidden fleet stirred. Engines that had been cold for years began to burn hot. Weapons that had never been fired outside of testing ranges locked onto targets. Thousands of men and women said silent prayers or whispered goodbyes to loved ones they might never see again. On the Chungmagong, Admiral Park watched the Valoran fleet reach the center of her trap. They were completely surrounded now, though they did not know it. Human ships floated above them, below them, on every side. Invisible, silent, waiting. Park thought about her grandmother, who had survived the wars before the unification. She thought about her daughter, sleeping safely on Earth, trusting her mother to protect her. She thought about all the people who had worked and sacrificed to build this fleet, knowing they might never see it used. Their faith had not been wasted. "All ships," Park said into the fleet-wide channel. Her voice was steady as iron. "This is Admiral Park. The enemy is in position. On my mark, decloak and engage. Show no mercy. Give no quarter. Let them see what they awakened." She raised her hand. Mark. 4,000 human warships appeared around the Valoran fleet like stars being born from darkness. Their weapons began to fire, and the galaxy changed forever. Admiral Torek had seen many things in his long career. He had watched planets burn. He had seen entire species surrender at the sight of his fleet. He had crushed rebellions and silenced protests with the simple power of Valoran weapons. Nothing had ever surprised him. Until now. One moment, his fleet was sailing through empty space, moving toward an easy victory. The next moment, The darkness came alive with fire. "Admiral!" Kef screamed from his sensor station. Enemy ships appearing on all sides. Thousands of them. They came from nowhere. Torek stared at his tactical display in disbelief. Red dots were appearing everywhere, surrounding his fleet like a net of death. Where had they come from? How had they hidden so many ships? The first volley hit before he could give a single order. Human railguns fired metal slugs at incredible speeds. Each slug was small, just a few kilograms of tungsten, but it traveled so fast that it hit with the force of a nuclear bomb. The slugs punched through Valaran shields like paper. They tore through armor like it was not there. Ships that had survived 100 battles exploded in seconds. "Return fire!" Torek shouted. "All ships, return fire!" But his fleet was in chaos. The Valaran ships had been arranged for conquest, spread wide to intimidate and overwhelm a weak enemy. They were not positioned for defense. They could not concentrate their fire. They could not protect each other. The humans could do all of these things. On the Guangetto, Captain Lee Sung-ho watched his crew work with perfect efficiency. Years of training had prepared them for this moment. Every person knew their job. Every system worked exactly as designed. "Targeting enemy battlecruiser," reported Yunji, firing main guns. The Guangetto shuddered as its massive railguns released their deadly cargo. 3 tungsten slugs crossed the distance in less than a second. They struck the Valaran battlecruiser in its engine section. The ship broke apart in a flash of light and fire, its crew of 10,000 dead before they could scream. "Target destroyed," Yunji said calmly. "Acquiring new target." Across the battle space, similar scenes played out thousands of times. Human ships worked together like parts of a single machine. Their computers shared information faster than any organic mind could process. When one ship fired, others adjusted their aim to cover different targets. When one ship was damaged, others moved to protect it. The Valaran had nothing like this. Their ships fought as individuals, each captain trying to save himself. Their communications were flooded with screams and desperate calls for help. Their formations collapsed into chaos. Admiral Park watched the battle from the Changmugong with cold satisfaction. Her plan was working perfectly. The hidden fleet had achieved complete surprise. The Valaran had no time to organize, no time to think, no time to do anything but die. "Status report," she ordered. "Enemy losses are massive," reported her tactical officer. "We have destroyed over 3,000 enemy ships in the first 10 minutes. Our losses are minimal. 12 ships destroyed, 47 damaged." Park nodded. Those numbers would change as the battle continued. The Valaran would adapt. They would start fighting back. But by then, it would be too late. On the Destroyer of Worlds, Admiral Tarek finally managed to bring some order to his fleet. He gathered his surviving ships into a defensive sphere, their weapons pointing outward in all directions. It was a desperate formation, meant for survival rather than victory. "How many ships do we have left?" he demanded. General Voss checked her console with shaking hands. Her confidence had disappeared. Her cruel smile was gone. She looked like a frightened child. "Approximately 8,000 combat-capable vessels," she said. "We have lost 4,000 ships in." She checked the time, and her voice broke. In 23 minutes, Torek felt something he had never felt before. Fear. Real fear. Not the small worry of a difficult battle, but the deep terror of facing something he could not defeat. How is this possible? He whispered. They were supposed to be primitives. They were supposed to be weak. Another impact shook his flagship. Warning alarms screamed throughout the ship. Smoke filled the bridge. Direct hit to Deck 7. Someone shouted. "We have hull breaches on Decks 5 through 9. Torek gripped his command chair, as his ship shuddered under the human assault. Through the view screen, he could see the battle raging around him. Valoran ships exploded like fireworks. Human vessels moved through the destruction like predators hunting prey, their weapons never stopping, their formations never breaking. He had underestimated them. He had believed the intelligence reports, the assumptions, the arrogance of his empire. He had thought humans were like every other species the Valoran had conquered, divided, weak, easily broken. He was wrong. On the Sejong the Great, Vice Admiral Shin Junho ordered his battleship group to advance. The massive ships pushed forward into the heart of the Valoran formation, their heavy armor absorbing hits that would destroy smaller vessels. Main gun charged, reported his weapons officer. Shin pointed at the largest Valoran ship he could see, a dreadnought nearly 5 kilometers long. Fire! The Sejong the Great released a beam of concentrated plasma that burned hotter than the surface of a star. It struck the Valoran dreadnought in its center mass. The alien ship glowed white for a moment, then broke apart into millions of pieces. Shin watched the destruction without emotion. He thought about his father, who had helped design the first hidden shipyards. He thought about his children, who would grow up in a galaxy that now knew humanity's strength. "Find me another target," he said. The battle continued. The Valoran fleet shrank with every passing minute. Their desperate defensive formation could not stop the human assault. Their superior numbers meant nothing when they could not use them properly. Admiral Torek realized the truth. This was not a battle anymore. It was an execution. The survivors of the Valoran fleet tried to run. It was the only choice left. Admiral Torek gave the order himself. All ships retreat. Emergency hyperspace jump. Get us out of here. His proud armada, which had entered the Sol system with dreams of easy conquest, now fled like frightened animals. Of the original 12,000 ships, fewer than 4,000 could still move. The rest were destroyed, crippled, or burning in the cold void of space. But humanity was not finished. Commander Yoon Hana had been waiting for this moment. A squadron of fast destroyers had positioned themselves along every possible escape route. They had stayed hidden during the main battle, their engines cold, their weapons ready. Now they came alive. "All ships, intercept and destroy," she ordered. "Nothing escapes." The Black Crane led the attack. It was smaller than the Valoran cruisers, but much faster. Its missiles could track targets across thousands of kilometers. Its railguns could fire while moving at full speed. Hana was a quiet woman who rarely showed emotion. But inside she burned with purpose. Her grandfather had been a soldier in the old wars, before humanity united. He had taught her that mercy to an enemy who shows no mercy is foolishness. The Valoran had come to enslave her people. They deserved no kindness. "Target the engine sections," she commanded. "Disable them first. Let them float helpless before we finish them." Her ships obeyed. Valoran vessels that tried to jump to hyperspace found their engines destroyed moments before activation. They drifted powerless, their crews screaming into radios that no one answered. On the destroyer of worlds, Admiral Torek watched his fleet die around him. Every escape route was blocked. Every attempt to fight back was crushed. The humans hunted his ships with terrible patience, destroying them one by one. His flagship shuddered again. More alarms. More damage reports. More deaths. "Admiral," General Voss said weakly, "we have lost communication with over half our remaining ships. Our shields are failing. Our weapons are nearly depleted." Torek said nothing. What was there to say? He had led 12,000 ships to what was supposed to be an easy victory. Now, those ships were scattered across the solar system in pieces. Then the transmission came. Admiral. Park Yuna appeared on his view screen again. She looked exactly the same as before. Calm, controlled, showing no emotion. Behind her, Torek could see human officers working at their stations, directing the battle that was destroying his fleet. "Admiral Torek," she said, "your fleet is finished. Your escape routes are blocked. You have no hope of victory or retreat. I offer you one chance to surrender. Your surviving crews will be treated according to galactic law. They will not be tortured or executed. This offer will not be repeated." Torek stared at her. Surrender. The word felt strange in his mind. Valoran did not surrender. Valoran conquered or died. That was their way. That had always been their way. But as he looked at the destruction around him, he realized something. The old ways had led to this disaster. His pride, his contempt, his certainty of victory had blinded him to the truth. These humans were not primitives. They were predators pretending to be prey. They had lured his fleet into a trap with perfect patience and skill. They had built weapons and ships in secret for over a century, preparing for exactly this moment. And now they were showing him something even more surprising. Mercy. Why? Torek asked. His voice was tired, broken. Why offer us surrender? We came to enslave your people. We laughed at your warning. We called you primitive. Why not simply destroy us all? Admiral Park was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was softer, almost sad. Because we are not like you. We did not build this fleet to conquer. We built it to survive. We did not want this battle. We wanted to live in peace, to explore the stars, to grow and learn without fear. But the galaxy would not allow that. Species like yours saw us as easy targets. So we became hard targets instead. She leaned forward. We could destroy every ship in your fleet. We could hunt down every survivor. We could send a message of pure destruction to the galaxy. But that is not who we are. We are humans. We fight when we must, but we do not enjoy cruelty. We defend our home, but we do not seek to burn others. Torek felt something wet on his face. He realized he was crying. In all his years of war, he had never cried. But this human, this enemy who had defeated him completely, was showing him something he had never seen before. Strength without cruelty. Victory without hatred. Power with restraint. "I accept your terms," Torek said. "I surrender what remains of my fleet." Admiral Park nodded. "A wise choice. Order your ships to power down their weapons and await boarding parties. Any ship that resists will be destroyed." The transmission ended. On Earth, in the command bunker, Colonel Beek Jisoo watched the Valoran fleet go silent. Thousands of alien ships floating powerless, their weapons dark, their engines cold. The battle was over. Lieutenant Kim Do-eun looked at her with wonder. "We won. We actually won." Beek nodded slowly. "We did. But this is not the end, Lieutenant. This is the beginning. The galaxy has been watching. Every species with eyes and ears has seen what happened here today. They have seen humanity's hidden strength." She looked at the holographic display, at the field of debris and surrendered ships. "Some will fear us now. Some will respect us. Some will hate us. But none of them will ever think we are weak again. That is the real victory." Outside, in the cold darkness of space, Commander Yoon Hana ordered her ships to stand down. The hunt was over. The lesson had been taught. Around her, the surviving Valoran ships drifted in silence, waiting for the humans who had defeated them to come aboard. Humanity had won its first galactic war. But as Beek had said, this was only the beginning. 3 months after the Battle of Seoul, the Valoran Empire sent ambassadors to Earth. They came not with weapons, but with gifts. Not with demands, but with apologies. The empire that had conquered 47 worlds knelt before the species they had called primitive. The surrender was signed in Geneva, in a hall filled with representatives from across the galaxy. News of humanity's victory had spread like fire through dry grass. Every species with the ability to receive transmissions had watched recordings of the battle. They had seen 12,000 Valoran warships enter the Sol system. They had seen fewer than 1,000 leave. Ambassador Wang Sujin stood before the assembled crowd. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes, chosen not for her military experience, but for her wisdom. Humanity wanted the galaxy to see a different face now. Not the face of war, but the face of peace. Distinguished representatives, she began. 3 months ago, the Valoran Empire came to our solar system. They came with 12,000 warships. They came with plans to enslave our people and burn our cities. They called us primitive. They laughed at our warning. She paused, letting her words settle over the silent crowd. They were wrong about us, but we do not blame them for their mistake. The galaxy has always belonged to the strong. Species that could not defend themselves were conquered or destroyed. This was the law of the universe, written in blood and fire for millions of years. The alien representatives shifted nervously. Many of them had considered attacking Earth at some point. Many had dismissed humans as easy targets. Now they wondered if humanity knew about their plans. We understood this law, Sujin continued. We learned it quickly after our first contact with alien life. And so we prepared. For 150 years, we built weapons in secret. We trained soldiers in hidden bases. We created a fleet that no one knew about, waiting for the day when someone would try to take our home. She smiled softly. That day came. We defended ourselves. We showed the galaxy that humanity is not prey. But now that the battle is over, we want to show you something else. We want to show you what humanity truly is. Sujin gestured to a display screen behind her. It showed images of Earth, children playing in parks, families sharing meals, scientists working in laboratories, artists creating beautiful things. This is what we fight for. Not conquest, not glory, not power over others. We fight for the right to live, to grow, to build a future for our children. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We do not want to destroy other species. We want what every living being wants: safety, peace, and the chance to become something better. She turned back to the crowd. Today, we offer friendship to any species willing to accept it. We offer trade, cooperation, and mutual defense. We will not attack anyone who does not attack us first. We will not interfere in the affairs of other civilizations. But we will also not apologize for our strength. We built this power to survive, and we will use it to protect ourselves if necessary. Her voice hardened slightly. Let this be clear to everyone watching. The fleet you saw at Sol is not our only defense. It is only what we chose to reveal. Humanity has been preparing for Galactic War for over a century. We have more ships, more weapons, more surprises hidden in places you will never find. If you come to Earth in peace, you will be welcomed as friends. If you come in war, you will be destroyed without mercy. She let those words hang in the air for a moment. Then her expression softened again. We hope that no one will test us again. We hope that the lesson of the Valoran fleet will be enough. War brings only suffering. Victory brings only ashes. We would rather build than destroy, create than conquer, live than kill. But we will do whatever is necessary to protect our home. Ambassador Sujin bowed slightly to the crowd. Thank you for listening. May we all find peace among the stars. Far from Earth, on the edge of known space. Ensign Park Jean sat at her monitoring station and watched the galaxy react to humanity's message. Dozens of alien fleets that had been moving toward human territory were now moving away. Diplomatic requests were flooding in from species that had never shown interest in Earth before. Trade offers, alliance proposals, and simple messages of respect filled her communication channels. Senior Chief Han Johan walked over with 2 cups of tea. He was an older man with white hair and a gentle smile. He had served in the Hidden Fleet for 30 years, waiting for a battle that many thought would never come. "Quite a change, isn't it?" he said, handing her a cup. 3 months ago, half the galaxy wanted to conquer us. Now they want to be our friends. Ji-Yoon nodded. "Do you think it will last? This peace, I mean?" Han thought about the question as he sipped his tea. Nothing lasts forever. Someday, another species will look at Earth and see opportunity. Someday, someone will think they can succeed where the Valoran failed. And when that day comes, we will be ready. He looked out the window at the distant stars. Each one might hold life, intelligence, potential friends or enemies. The universe was vast and full of unknown dangers. But for now, he continued, we have peace. We have respect. We have proven that humanity can survive in this galaxy. That's more than our ancestors ever dreamed possible. Ji-Yoon smiled. Her grandfather had been one of the engineers who built the first hidden shipyard. He had died 10 years ago, never knowing if his work would matter. She wished she could tell him that it had mattered, that his sacrifice and the sacrifices of millions of others had saved humanity. To the builders, she said, raising her teacup. Han raised his cup as well. To the builders, and to the warriors, and to everyone who kept the faith when the rest of the galaxy thought we were nothing. They drank in silence as the stars shone cold and eternal outside their window. On Earth, children who would never know how close they had come to slavery played in parks under a peaceful sky. In classrooms, teachers taught history that now included humanity's first great victory among the stars. In laboratories, scientists worked on new technologies that would make Earth even stronger. And in the depths of space, the Hidden Fleet remained vigilant. Ships that had proven their worth in battle returned to their hiding places, ready to wake again if needed. Crews that had faced death together now trained new generations, passing on the skills and knowledge that had saved their world. Humanity had sent a message to the universe, written in fire and steel. They were small, they were young, but they were not to be conquered. The galaxy had finally learned to listen.